Have you ever read Giant Size Superheroes featuring Spider-Man? This comic book was released in June of 1974 and is actually a three-part story. So first we get Man-Wolf, which if you don't know who Man-Wolf is, he is John Jameson III, which is J. Jonah Jameson's son. J. Jonah Jameson is a astronaut, and he explores the planet, which gives him this sort of tablet that awakens a wolf in him, a werewolf. And if you're a big fan of werewolf like I am, I've always been very fascinated with that character. If you want to know more, you can definitely read Amazing Spider-Man 124 and 125, and that'll give you more backdrop to what's going on. So the premise of the story is that Spider-Man is swinging around the city. He catches some sort of petty thieves robbing from a jewelry store, and ends up taking the photos back to Robbie at the Bugle in order to cash them in. But then Robbie informs it that there's something else going on in the city. Is that there's these bite marks, people are being drained of their blood. And he's like, wait, that can't be Morbius. Morbius died. Nope, it's Morbius. And then we see J. Jonah Jameson III become Man-Wolf. And this is really neat. I'm a big fan of the classic horror movies. So if you've ever seen like Dracula, The Werewolf, House of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets Werewolf, the Invisible Man, things like that. This sort of reminisces with that sort of Man-Wolf versus Morbius, the living vampire, which is just incredible. We got some fantastic artwork here. Love the panels, love the verbiage. As you can see, there's a lot of verbiage, which takes me back to the days when there was a lot to read in comic books. And so then here we see sort of Morbius. He subdues the Man-Wolf in order to control him and to really be a distraction. So part 3, we see Morbius and Man-Wolf together, and Spider-Man sort of takes on Man-Wolf by himself. And then we realize that later on that Man-Wolf wasn't actually the one who was committing the biggest crime. It was actually Morbius. He was trying to steal this equipment from a doctor in order to reverse the effects of his vampirism. But again, it's fantastic. It's a great storyline. We see here where Spider-Man visits J. Jonah Jameson in order to sort of tell him about his son. But as any father, he protects his son. And that's pretty much the end of the story. So, you ever seen this before? It's pretty cool. There were some really cool and awesome comic books in the 70s. Take care.